Hello, welcome. My name is Meredith Edwards, and I love offering creative inspiration based on spiritual principles and practical ways. Hello, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. So today we're going to talk about and explore the power of perception. The power of perception. So there's a nice little alliteration to it. So our perception is the way that we perceive, the way we see things. Many of you know from my posts, if you read my posts, that I'm a follower of A Course in Miracles, or it sounds like a cult, not like a cult follower, but it's something that I read and study for inspiration. And one of the main principles of A Course in Miracles is that it's probably like the underlying fundamental principle is that a miracle is caused by a shift in perception. That's it, a miracle. A miracle is caused by a shift in perception. So maybe you've had a time in your life when you thought, oh, I never thought of it that way. Oh, there's like a light bulb, like an aha moment. There's a complete shift just based on the way that you saw that thing. The thing itself doesn't change. It's just you were able to see it in a different way, which caused a light bulb enlightenment. You were enlightened. That is a miracle because you were able to change your perception of that thing in a way that perhaps provided some sort of relief or peace. There is kind of that is kind of a miraculous moment to see something differently, to kind of get out of our own way and say, oh. So maybe you've had that experience and can relate to that. Welcome, welcome if you're just joining. The power of perception. And so there's a lot of ways that we can work with the power of perception. And one of the most basic, simple ways is through gratitude. The pathway through the power to access the power of perception is through gratitude, because gratitude allows you to reframe, to shift your mindset on whatever that thing is. So maybe you've had something in your life that's happened that you didn't necessarily want to happen, a job you didn't get, a relationship that didn't come to fruition that you want in the way that you wanted to, a school that you didn't get into. We've all had those experiences, but now in the present, can you look back and find the gratitude in it? At the time, you weren't able to see it, perhaps, because it's not what you wanted. But now, maybe it's like, oh, no wonder I didn't get into a relationship with that person, because then I met the person I was supposed to get into a relationship with. Or thank God I didn't get that job, because then I would have never moved to this place, or I would have never gotten that job, or I would have never met this person, right? So when we can look back and at our lives in those challenging times and those challenging moments and find the gratitude, that is a shift in perception. Even right now, I asked you to bring something that is maybe troubling you, or a limiting belief that you have that is perhaps weighing on you or bringing you down or not serving you in some way. And I'd like to do a little mini exercise today on how to shift that perception, on how to reframe that state of mind. I did an amazing transformational life coaching program. It's how I was certified as a life coach, called Coaching for Transformation, if anyone is looking for one, through Leadership That Works. And we follow 5 pathways to alignment. That's what the course is based on. And one of those pathways is expanding the view, because it's so easy for us to get stuck in a limiting belief and a story that keeps us stuck and keeps us small. And it doesn't have to be that way. there are many other ways to see something. And somehow, sometimes allowing yourself to exercise, well, what are the other views? What is true about this? Allows us to be a little bit more flexible with our view, and perhaps allows us to be a little bit more open to take on other views, other perceptions. Because sometimes the thing doesn't change, you know, the thing is like this, and you can see it this way or you can see it this way. You choose how do you want to see it? See it in a way that is in service to you, or see it in a way that brings you down. And there's power in choice. And we have a choice. We have a choice with how we want to see things. We have a choice with how we look at things. We have a choice with what we allow to come into our system in terms of our thoughts, in terms of how we view things. And I want to share with you before we go into our little exercise here so that you can take this on, that over 10 years ago, I found myself in a dark place, actually. I had just graduated from college. I was new in LA. I was living in LA. For 1 year, I lived in LA before. Now I live here now, happily. But that first year was very tough. You know, I had just gotten out of college. I was trying to find myself. I was really doing a lot of soul searching, figuring out who I was and where I was going and what I was doing and all that good stuff that you do in your early 20s. Maybe some of you are there now. It's all part of the process. But I found myself really stuck in a lot of limiting beliefs, stuck in a lot of negative. I don't really love the words positive and negative because things don't really fit in those boxes, but just for lack of a better term, negative self-talk, you know. And so I wasn't able to see any of the beauty around me, anything that was working, because I was stuck in this view, this really narrow-minded view of like, woe is me and a victimhood. And yeah, I was going through a tough time. And of course, there's something to be said about honoring your feelings and honoring the tough times when you go through them. But there's also something to be said about being stuck in a limiting belief that does not serve you, that you do not need, that you're choosing to be stuck in, you know? And long story short, I ended up moving from LA to New York, kind of restarting. Sometimes a new environment helps to restart your way of seeing things because your environment's different. Literally what you're seeing is different. And sometimes that helps initiate or spark a new way of seeing things. But I read a really powerful book that changed my life called A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. It's like a Bible. It's like, I mean, you could reread it over and over again and still become exploded in the learnings. And I realized there's got to be something more, and I am the one choosing to put myself into this place, and that was my experience at the time. And I experienced depression, and I got myself out of it. I did, and I did the things that I needed to do that. I remember writing, my friend and I drawing, having a little drawings art session, and I wrote this. The sunlight can't get in if the shutters are closed. If the shutters are closed, the sunlight can't come in. And so the sunlight's always there, whether you open your shutters or not. Whether you see it or not, it's there. And I was choosing not to see it. I was choosing to shut my shutters and to keep it dark. And I thought, that's enough. I'm not going to do that anymore. And so baby steps was really hard to do because I had to get out of my comfort zone. You know, we're comfortable in our negative beliefs sometimes, in our loyal soldier and our inner critic. We get comfortable in these things that keep us stuck because there's a comfort there. We don't have to do anything that's hard or scary or putting ourselves out there and making ourselves vulnerable. And so I took baby steps, and little by little I started to open my shutters, and try new things and try new things on and new ways of thinking about things, and starting to look around and allow myself with the intention to see things differently. And it worked. My whole life changed. It changed in like less than a year. It started changing immediately, actually. My spirits lifted. All these new amazing things started coming into my life. New people, new opportunities. And the rest is history. I mean, not really, you know, but yeah, that was a huge milestone. And a lot of it came down to shifting my perspective. And that's it. Letting the sunlight in. It's always there. It was my choice not to see it. And so I invite you to think about something that might be troubling you right now, or a limiting belief that you have. For example, you know, I hear a lot, I'm never the chosen one for X, Y, and Z. I'm never the one that gets the boyfriend or the girlfriend. I'm never the one that gets the job. I'm never the one that gets picked for X, Y, and Z. And then ask yourself, well, is that true? Is that true? Tell me about a time when you did get picked, when you did get the person or the job or the thing that you wanted. I'm sure there's one. Okay? And then what is another way to view that? I'm not good enough. Okay, so tell me about a time when you did feel good. Tell me about a time when you did feel good enough. And what's another view to take on? So we're gonna go into a little experience, because taking some sacred space really helps us open our inner sight, our insight, right? And so I invite you to tune in with me now if you're here. And for those who are watching after, join me now. Close your eyes if you can. And just allow yourself to get quiet. Any kind of judgments you have about whatever's going on right now or in your past or in your future, just allow them to float away, put them aside. And through this experience, any thoughts that come in that are taking you out of the present moment, out of the experience, out of this, the intention of this being an exercise for your own inner growth and self-reflection, then allow it to float on by like clouds. No need to hang on to anything. And so I invite you to have an open mind here. We're expanding the view. So beware of needing to attach to anything. There might be some triggers that come up. That's okay. We'll just breathe and allow ourselves to have a creative exploration and let it be whatever it needs to be for you. That's what this is, an exploration, a creative exploration. And we'll keep an open mind and an open heart. And we'll make that our intention for this time. So I invite you to bring in something that is maybe troubling you, or a limiting belief or a story, a limiting story that you hear a lot, that maybe you tell yourself, or maybe, you know, maybe you heard when you were younger, or something that is not serving you, that it maybe feels narrow-minded, or it feels small or stuck. And there might be a few rolling around, and just tune into one, maybe the one that feels most resonant to you right now, today, in this moment. And so I want you to allow yourself to open up to this view, this story. Maybe it's I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, pretty enough, handsome enough, talented enough. Maybe it's I'm lazy, I'm weak. You know, those inner demon thoughts that we all have. No judgment. Just allow it to come through now. What is it? Just get curious about it. And we're observing it. We're not attaching to it. We're observing it. So that disconnects us from it right now. Almost like we're sitting at the table talking to it. This is like a shadow of ourselves, and it's there for a reason. So when we allow ourselves to get curious about it, we can find out what it needs. And so now I want you to ask yourself, what about this is true? Really try to break it down. What about, and you're detached from it right now, you're just having a conversation. What is it about this belief, this story, whatever this is true? You can ask, is this true? Maybe you realize, no, it's not true. Or, well, okay, it's true sometimes, but not all the time. Okay. So now we have a little bit of space. Okay, I want you to take a deep breath in and out. And now I want you to invite in a completely different view. So there's this view that's I'm not good enough or whatever it is. What is another view? A different view that you want to try on? Maybe you don't believe it. That's okay. It's okay if you don't believe it. Let's just try it on for size. So maybe, if the story was I'm lazy, then this view is I'm really hardworking. Maybe if the view was I'm not pretty enough, maybe this one is I'm beautiful. Try on a different view. So get it and allow yourself to experience this view. So try it on for size. Embody it. Breathe it in. Feel it. What is true about this view? How does it feel to take on, to step into, to see through the lens of this view, of this story, this perspective? Okay, I want you to take a deep breath in and out, cleansing the channel. And now I want you to bring in another view. Bring in another view, another story. Maybe it's just another story about yourself, something else that you could tell yourself. Maybe it's what you want. What do you want the story to be? What do you want the view to be? And it's okay if you don't believe it. This is not the exercise. It's just allowing yourself to explore it right now, to connect to it. So what is a perspective that you think would lift you up and serve you? Take that one on right now, whatever it is. It can be completely different than the other two. Invite it in. In my best self, in the best version of myself, this is how I see this. This is how I see myself. This is how I see this situation, whatever it is. This is the view I take on right now. And so allow yourself to embody it, see it, experience it, feel it. What is true about this perspective? What is true here? Together, let's take a deep inhale. And exhale. Stay here with the eyes still closed, and I want you to ask yourself, which view do you want to take on? And then going one step further, this is kind of the lay it down process, the step 2 part of the creative process. After we've dreamt it up, we've done the creative exploration, now we're going to lay it down. I want you to create a mantra for this view. I am blank. And make the sentence fit for whatever you need it for. I am blank. Or create a mantra, a little statement of intention, something that allows you to hold on to this view, to remember this view, this perspective, and to try it on, to explore it. To keep exploring it further, to keep trying it on, to keep opening the shutters a little bit more each time. And it's okay if you don't believe it yet. You just try it on, embody it, start wearing it, start breathing it, start seeing it, then you start believing it. And that's how we evolve, that's how we transform. And whenever you're ready, let's take another deep breath. Inhale. And exhale. You can open your eyes if they're closed. So I invite you to write that down. Write down any takeaways from your little mini exploration. Write down your mantra, write down your intention, and practice it. Practice this perspective this week, now, right now. There's no time like the present time. Because so often, our stories are not in the present. They're not, because the present is that place of miracle, enlightenment. That's can only be experienced in the present moment. So a lot of times our stories, our limiting beliefs are based on the past. Old stories that are still stuck, that we're still carrying on. Some of them, most of them probably from our childhood. And so some of this work allows us to kind of get in there and explore them, and expanding the view allows you to kind of question it and get curious and detach from it. You don't have to you don't have to be tied to it if you don't want to. You don't have to take it. You don't have to view the world through that lens. And you have the power, you have the choice to change the view if you want. It's not easy, but with intention and with practice and with continuing to show up for yourself like you are right now on a Monday, thank you, then that's how we transform, that's how we evolve, that's how we grow, that's how we learn, that's how we become our highest possible creative manifestation in this lifetime. we keep showing up. We keep questioning, we stay curious, we allow ourselves to change. And so, yes, from the past, and also anxiety from the future, you know? And so always coming back to the present and taking that time to kind of tune into what's present will help you get there. Because you can't change anything if you're not aware of it. If you're not aware of how you're seeing things, how do you know if it's serving you or not? Right? So I hope this experience served you. I had so many things that I wanted to talk about. Another simple thing that I'll share with you that I posted about today was that helps, that's a quick, with gratitude. So gratitude's a real quick way to shift your view, to shift the perception. When you start getting into that like low place, well, what am I grateful for? It allows you to just, it's really uplifting. It allows the view to go from focusing on what's not going right to focusing on what is going right. Very simple. Focusing on what do I not have? Focusing what do I have? Right? Gratitude. Gratitude brings you back to, oh, this is what I'm grateful for, what I do have, what is working, what is good, which law of attraction will just bring more of that. The second one, though, another little thing, is sometimes we find ourselves saying a lot, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, I have to go work out, I have to go to the grocery store, I have to go to this job, I have to. Well, is this true? Remember the powerful question, is this true? No, that's not true. You don't have to do anything. So that's an incorrect story. But number 2, try instead of I have to, what about I get to? Again, bringing in that gratitude. I'm alive. I get to go work out because I have a body that moves for me, that's able and healthy. And I have legs that work. Not all of us have that. And if you do, that's something to be grateful for. I have a job. I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work. I get to go to a job that I love, that pays me. I have to call my mom. I get to call my mom. I get to have a mom that I have a connection to. You know what I mean? That reframes everything and really gets you back to the basics that we take for granted. So those things that we take for granted, that when they happen, like when we get sick or when someone passes or we have a hard day or something really bad happens, we realize what we've taken for granted, right? And so we always got to keep reframing to keep us in alignment, to keep us checked in. I also asked, so today, for some reason in particular, was a special day where I had just a few things kind of come into my life of people that needed some prayers and some healing and some love. And so I'm offering to vocalize and express, and I'm taking prayer requests, healing requests, love requests. Prayer might be a trigger word for some of you. I don't know. For me, I love the word. It's a word that I do connect to, but it's just allowing yourself to send blessings out, to send love, good vibes, love and light, whatever speaks to you. And so if you have, maybe you or someone you know needs some blessings, some healing, some extra love, some extra light, some strength, some courage, type it into the comments and I'll send it out. And I'd like us all to kind of be here together. And so if you do have one, type it out. So I'm just looking at my prayer list here. Okay. So I invite you to join me as we send some love and light and some blessings to some people in the world who need it. I'd like to send prayers, healing, and love to a dear friend, Nikki Scheit, who is in recovery right now after a tragic car accident last year. I'm sending her strength and healing and courage and power and many blessings to stay strong. Let us wrap her now, Nikki, dear Nikki, in love and light and healing and support. If you have any love and light to give and share, I ask that you please send it to her right now. I also want to send strength and love and healing and support to her family, to her mother Anna, to her father Tim, to her sister Michelle, to her partner Noah. I was fortunate enough to be able to go see and visit with Nikki with some dear friends, and I was blown away by their dedication, their devotion, their love for her. It blew me away, and it was really, really touching. And so I know they're going through a hard time, and so let's send them love too. I want to send some good vibes out to Bruno for his interview, for his new job tonight and tomorrow in Colorado. So let's send Bruno good vibes, and also his wife Asha and their 2 twin boys. May divine will be done. May they go where they are meant to go. I'd like to send strength and courage this week to Hillary Dare, as she is honoring the life of her grandmother who has passed, and she's in Chicago this week with her mother and family. That's a big one, death, it's so hard. And because there's so much, for obvious reasons, our loved ones are gone, but there's so much in the unknown. We don't know what happens after, and that's hard for us to deal with. And it's also something, going back to gratitude, I've witnessed death bring so many families together. It can bring people apart, but it also has, it's a really powerful thing that happens in life, and it's something that's just inevitable. Birth and death and rebirth and death and the cycle over and over again. And so let us, be mindful of all those out in the world right now who are dealing with death and passing, and send love to their heart, and may they see the gratitude. And I also just want to take a moment to send strength, love, and healing to all those who need it right now. And I invite you all, if you can, to just close your eyes and send out love and healing to our dear world. There are so many people here that are suffering, that are going through hard times right now, that could use the extra attention and love and support right now. So let us send that wherever it needs to go. And I invite you to tune into anyone in your life right now that could use a little extra love, healing, support, strength, whatever it is. I invite you to tune into them now, see them, really see them, go to them. You can imagine that you are with them, or that you're maybe watching over them, and send them love and strength, peace, whatever it is that they need. Even just sending your attention onto them is sending love. And then I invite you to send some love and peace and healing and light and whatever it is that you need to yourself right now. Maybe you're going through a hard time. Maybe you can use the extra love, support, and light, strength, whatever. Sending some gratitude for showing up today, for yourself, for being here. We'll take a deep breath in and out. Thanks for joining me. I'm just seeing if we have any other prayer requests. Anyone else have any requests? Requests for good vibes, healing, and also let us send joy. Let us send joy and peace and happiness. It's spring. It is the season of growth and blossoming and uplifting. Literally, things that were dead are coming back to life now. We are in the midst of a transformation. If you want to tune in a little bit more, I have a spring flower meditation because we are all like flowers. So you can tune into that. Elise, so I had Spencer on here and I saw that you had joined and I wanted to respect if you wanted me to shout it out or not, but he was in my notes because I was going to shout him out. So let's tune in to Dear Spencer. This is my beautiful best childhood friend's brother. Who's going through a hard time. Spencer, like so many others, is living homeless in the streets and is imprisoned by addiction. And so let us please send him strength and courage, and let us please lift him up out of the shackles of that he may find a new pathway. And let us send some love to dear Elise and her family and all of those who care for him. Thanks, Lisi. Anyone else? Okay. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Happy spring. Tune into my spring flower meditation for some extra uplifting to see what is growing and blooming and aching to burst through the surface for you this spring. I'll see you next time.